Good evening, I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, the Real Money Doctor. It's currently just a couple minutes after 7 o'clock on Thursday, April 23rd, and I want to do today's daily recap of events that affect the way you get, protect, and enjoy your money, life, and retirement. And today, we're going to be talking about vaccines, and I'll get to that in just a couple minutes, because a lot of people are. But again, what starts today is always the number of COVID cases. Right now, U.S. cases of COVID have topped in excess of 864,000. There have been over 47,000.8 deaths right now in just 3 months. 79,000, almost 80, not quite 80, but just about 80,000 have actually recovered. That's about 9% of the total cases that actually recovered. New York cases are still growing at 271,000. However, their death rate is slowed ever so slightly. It's if you could say 19.6 thousand deaths is a good thing, then New York State has a good thing. Their deaths have slowed, which is really novel. 15,000 of those deaths, however, are in New York City itself, and that number really hasn't increased dramatically from yesterday to the day before, which is a good thing. The state deaths haven't increased that much from the day before, which is also a good thing. New Jersey cases right now are at 95,000.9, just under 96,000 cases, but their death rate is holding at basically 5,000 dead. So they're doing not that bad right now. Okay, this is a major improvement in both New York State and in New Jersey with the number of people that are actually dying. Now the numbers keep going up every day. The death rates are, slowing down, which is nice. Okay, it's slowing down in this area. In other areas, it's popping up. Now, each case is a personal case to someone. I could sit here and run off the numbers, and that's nice. But these are all individual people that are being affected. Individual families that are being affected. Mothers, brothers, fathers, sisters. Affects people in infants well into their 90s, both sides. All economic bounds. However, the majority of the cases are obviously people that have been working for a living. Black and Hispanic people are getting hit disproportionately with COVID. Again, they've got underlying conditions because of the types of jobs that they have. They're more exposed. And because of the lower income, they have a difficult time distancing themselves the way other people would. And there's also a number of pre-existing health conditions. But it's something to look into. If you're black or brown, your chances of getting COVID have increased dramatically. Okay? And we've got to recognize that these people are the working people that are supplying things to everybody else. Now, the nursing homes are getting hit big time, without a doubt. Okay, they're getting hit. They're not having a good time. Residents and their staff are dying from COVID in nursing homes, in long-term care facilities in Illinois, Louisiana, Georgia, New York, New Jersey, Maine, Indiana, and even Washington State. And I'm certain there's others out there. Okay, because the total deaths in nursing homes and long-term care facilities right now is over 10,000. 10,000 senior citizens have lost their lives to COVID. Healthcare workers in every fashion and form, from doctors, ER staff, down to housekeeping and dietary people. Okay, if you're involved in healthcare in any way, shape, or form, there's about a 10 to 20% chance that you're going to get COVID because of all the cases that exist right now. 10 to 20% of those are healthcare workers in some way, shape, or form. The next group that being affected are store clerks, okay, specifically in the states with higher COVID numbers. Okay, they're not having a good time. Transit workers, police, and fire department people are sick and dying. Okay, and they're calling out in record numbers because they can't risk going back and infecting other people. Okay, bus drivers are still not happy because Again, number of people pass past that bus driver. He's sitting there to one consistent thing on that bus is the bus driver. For an entire 8-hour shift where everybody's on and off of that bus, they all go past him. So bus drivers are at real risk. Postal workers, FedEx people, UPS people, Amazon delivery people, all these people are all getting affected by COVID. Again, the number of packages and letters that they touch, the number of people that have touched those things in the past. Okay, it's not happy. And again, these are all the people that work in the background to get you the things that you need, to provide the services that you need. These are the people most at risk at this point in time. You're complaining that you're at home. I understand. These people, however, have been deemed to have essential jobs, and they're out there doing things, and their lives are at risk, and their families' lives are at risk, because they don't have all the PPE that they should have. We're surprised. Okay. Right now, there's currently 26 naval warships that have cases of COVID. 26 ships have cases of COVID. Okay. 14 have already been hit, but the virus seemed to clear at some point in time, and there's members that were incapacitated before because of the virus on those 14 ships. They've recovered. Currently, there's 90 ships at sea with no reported cases out of the 297 active naval duty ships right now. So that's not a bad deal, but you're talking about a third of the ships in the force have a problem right now. Over 3,500 service people have been tested positive for COVID, including 2 deaths. Of that 3,500, nearly 800 of those people, 800 of those cases came from the outbreak aboard the USS Teddy Roosevelt, the aircraft carrier where one sailor actually died, and the captain was fired for trying to protect his crew. There are dozens of COVID outbreaks at meatpacking plants across the nation, and it is far, far more extensive than what people thought. Now, I reported this, last week sometime, okay, with the South Dakota case. The rates of infection around these plants is higher than those of 75% of other counties. Tyson was forced to shut down 2 pork processing plants, including its largest plant in Waterloo, Iowa, after dozens of workers tested positive for COVID. Smithfield's pork plant in South Dakota, which is the first one that I reported on, handles 5% of the pork production, and it's suspended indefinitely. As of yesterday, day before, there were at least 2,200 workers at 48 different plants that reported infections. We're going to see more of this in the coming weeks, and this is because we don't have an instant test. Right now, these people are working, and you could be asymptomatic. It means you're not showing any signs or symptoms of the disease, and it could be that way for up to 2 weeks or so. At which point in time, you're still carrying that disease, and you're passing it all over everybody else. And by the time you show signs and symptoms, then you get tested. It could be 2 days to get a test back. Okay, you've infected a lot of people. Now, it's starting to affect the food supply. And I said that this was going to happen a couple days ago. USDA public data shows that pork and beef production across the United States is down 20 to 30% right now. That tighter supply is expected to raise retail prices as grocery stores mandate rationing of pork chops. Tyson's product portfolio includes Jimmy Dean, Hillshire Farms, and Ballpark. It's a lot of food that we would routinely rely on that is going to start having some shortages. They're going to increase. I don't know when or how much, but they're going to increase. Because if there's nobody to process this stuff, and again, these are not glamorous jobs. They're relatively low-paying jobs that require a lot of physical work and a lot of activity. So they're close. They're close with each other. And a lot of migrant people come in, a lot of immigrants come in and take these jobs because who in the U.S. wants to go in and work on a meatpacking plant? Okay, It's not a glamorous thing. And for some reason, okay, these people take these jobs, trying to take care of their families, trying to provide food for everybody else, and they're at higher risk than anybody else at this point in time. Now, the country is tired, okay, of the shutdown. They're tired of the shutdown. Hundreds of thousands of small businesses are crippling under the financial strain. And there's a big push to open a country, primarily coming from the president, inside the safety of the Oval Office, and it's compounded by the talking heads on cable TV, okay, especially the channels that he watches. The governors are talking about opening, even though they don't meet the recommendations put out by the president, the White House, and the president coronavirus staff itself, where it says they want you to have a 2-week downward trend in cases before lifting measures, and then only do it in phases. That's not happening right now. Even though there is no 2-week downward trend, the governors are being spurred on. Amazing how that happens with background stuff. Some states are planning on opening early, or Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Alaska, and actually some parts of Florida. Even as the governors want to open, okay, some local mayors think it's too early, and the number of cases have not really dropped enough. Now, the president praised Georgia Governor Kemp last week before the reopening. So there's a nice, knowledgeable guy, knew what was going on. And then yesterday, he basically slammed them for opening. Okay. So the governors know where they're at. The governor's left hanging. The president sets this up so that no matter what happens, it wasn't his fault. Okay, it's always somebody else's fault. Well, he's hanging these governors out to dry. He's complaining that the place isn't open. He tries to open it up, but he's not going to do it because it's up to the governors now. Okay, and when the governors do anything and it blows up, they weren't following guidelines. He spurred them on. Amazing what the leadership is at this point in time. Now, yesterday, the governor was trying to play down the president was trying to play down the possibility of a second wave of COVID coming this fall. Did a news briefing yesterday. It might not happen at all. If it happens, we can target it. It'll be small areas. And he's saying all this stuff, and that's lovely. In this same briefing, standing less than 4 feet away from him, 3 different doctors on his staff, the head of the CDC, Fauci, and Dr. Birx, all refuted the president's statements right in front of him. The man's got no credibility. 3 of his own doctors, right there in front of him, said that, yeah, there's going to be a second wave. It's going to be this fall. Now, you know the president has serious credibility problems when even in a red state like Florida, 72% of the state want to extend the stay-at-home order into May. Now, whatever you do, whatever you think, testing is key to any safe reopening. And actual testing is the thing that's been lacking. From day one, it continues to be lacking this day. The president says one thing in the briefings, and again, he was going off today about the availability of labs. There's labs all over the states, and the states don't even know these labs exist. Well, that's great. The labs exist. However, the materials don't exist. The swabs and the reagents and the people that do the testing, they don't exist. Ask any governor at all. Republican or Democrat, they're all telling you the same stuff. They can't get the testing done. They don't have the materials. Okay, why can't they get the testing done? The president absolutely refuses to invoke the Defense Production Act to secure the manufacture and distribution of what's needed to get all the testing done from one centralized person. He doesn't want to give up that authority. Again, it's not completely his fault. Okay? He's 70 plus years old. He's been running businesses since he's borrowed Dad's money and never gave it back to him. Okay? Dad ran his own businesses. The president's been running businesses in his own private corporation Okay, there was no board of directors to report to. He was the sole person in charge. After 70 plus years, you sort of get used to that, and I understand that. But he's the president right now. The president is part of the executive branch. The Congress oversees the executive branch. He hates anybody overseeing or questioning anything that he does, which is why he runs off the way he does. It's just in his DNA. He's not particularly a bad guy, but all his training, whatever he's done, he's never answered to anybody. And now as president, okay, he's got a Congress that he needs to answer to. He's got people that he needs to answer to. November will be interesting when he starts answering to the people. Now, the unemployment numbers are out today. Another 4.4 million. That adds to a total of 20.5 million people that are unemployed. 20.5 million unemployment claims. 20.5 million people out of work in just the last 5 weeks. Just the last 5 weeks. They're still having problems getting those claims through. What a surprise. The good news, if you can say good news at all, on the PPP funds, a number of large Ivy League schools that applied for it actually got some money, including Harvard, Yale, Princeton, all agreed to either return the money or not take it at all. Tiny little bright spot there, which was sort of nice. Somebody slowly doing the right thing. They were ashamed to do it, but that's okay, as long as the right thing got done. Congress is physically back in session today. They're wearing masks. What a surprise. People out there with their AK-47s and their strapped-on 45s and 38s, okay, protesting they want to liberate the states and open up this and open up the other, okay, they're not wearing masks. But isn't it interesting that Congress goes back to session? These people know what's going on. They're wearing masks. There must be a reason for that, don't you think? Maybe you should be wearing one too. If you go out, okay, wear a mask. Don't change your behavior to avoid infection. Assume that you're actually infected and change your behavior to avoid transmission. It's the responsible thing to do. That and the fact that we're social distancing is the only thing that's keeping the numbers down right now. The only thing that kept the numbers down so that the hospital system didn't crash. The hospital systems in these big cities were close to crashing. There was one doctor, very recently, he came on for his shift, and he had 6 people die on him. 6 people died in one shift under one doctor's care from COVID. That's a lot of strain. It's a lot of mental strain. And you're going to see later on, a couple months from now, when things slowly calm down a little bit, okay, you're going to see some major healthcare issues, mental healthcare issues, in the healthcare community. I mean, these people are troopers. They'll do their job every day. They will. That's what they're trained for. They live for that. They join the field to help people. But this number of dead people, this volume of cases, the severity of cases this quickly, okay, it has an effect. It's going to have an effect on these people, and you're going to see that in coming months. Now, the lack of driving, because everybody's at home, has allowed the earth to clean itself up a little bit. And a lot of places, that air in major cities is cleaner. People are saying they can actually see the Himalaya mountains at some point in time now. They couldn't see them before. There are clear skies right now. I don't know how long it's going to last for. But even while all those good things are happening, the president has rolled back tons of environmental regulations, allowing industries to pollute even more. Does that make any sense whatsoever? There's still a lot of people that didn't get their refund checks yet from the IRS or their stimulus checks. Again, make sure you check the link. I'll post this tomorrow on my YouTube channel, The Real Money Doctor, and there'll be a link to a page that has a number of links that concern itself with COVID, and I'll post a link to the IRS so you can check on your payment to see if it's being processed or what information they might need. On that link, I also post a present every day, so you should go there and find out what that present is. It's always something interesting. And that brings us to today's question, talking about vaccines. Lots of talk about vaccines today. Okay. Why are they all talking about vaccines? Because that's the only long-term solution there is to this problem. The reality is, though, a vaccine is really 12 to 18 months out at the earliest. And the problem is we haven't finished with the first wave of COVID that we're now in, and there's going to be a second wave this fall and or this winter. That's just the facts of things. Social distancing and masks have held the numbers to where they are, which is really good, slowing the deaths in major hotspots. However, the treatments that they're being worked on right now, they're working on all over the place. They're not tested yet. They're trying to test them now, and they don't have any confirmed treatment yet. They've got a half a dozen different treatments in place that they're trying and testing right now. They don't know what's happening. So whatever happens with that, with the treatments and the vaccines, testing for COVID remains the only key to both a short and long-term problem. The only key. Now, people can reopen anything they want to reopen. I really don't care. However, who's going to go feel safe going into those establishments and confident enough that they can go back into those places when people are not social distancing and wearing their masks right now? So, yeah, you can open a store, but it doesn't mean that people are going to go into the store. You can open a restaurant, but do you really feel comfortable going there? You don't know, because people are not social distancing right now. They're not wearing a mask now. How's it going to be later on when they think it's okay and there's fewer people social distancing and fewer people wearing masks? It's a problem. So anyway, I'll be posting this video tomorrow on YouTube. Make sure you go there and get the links for the stimulus check. I appreciate you being with me tonight. Again, my name is Dr. Fred Rouse. I'm the Real Money Doctor. I'm here, and my only goal is to help you get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement. I appreciate you being with me. I appreciate you letting me be with you. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Thank you.